Jim Duke Radio Network.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Well, join me. I'm going to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
Hey, how's it going, Darren?
Jim, hey, I'm doing real good. Thanks.
So a couple notes here. Again, I want to thank people for telling me that they have been receiving the podcasts despite the numbers fluctuating. And I'm still considering our anniversary comes up in a month or so, and I'm still considering what to do with the name change. If I want to change it, because I just don't feel comfortable throwing my name out there, and it saturates the public forums, and then your name just gets out there in public too much. And some people use a pseudonym, and I haven't done that, unless you think my name is a pseudonym. I've had people accuse me of that, but who cares? I'm going to bring the rationale to it, because there's a lot of topics out there that we can easily say it sounds plausible, but they're based on theories. Like I heard this quantum theory that we're in a timeline that fluctuates both forward and backwards. And if we consciously are aware of it, we can get ourselves in a mindset through higher consciousness to turn back into the time before. And basically, it's a pseudo time machine with our minds. Things like that it's just, to me, it's not rational. And people will say in the quantum physics it is. So they come up with all these figures, all these scientific terms. It sounds plausible that you and I, Darren, would just bite into it because we don't know any better. And it would sound like, oh, yeah, that sounds like they sound like they know what they're talking about, but most of them don't. They make it up as they go.
I have heard that our minds can alter time, the speed of it. Whether it's true or not, I know that's not irrational.
Then I think we'd be all consciously trying to get through all this crap, wouldn't we?
Well, think about it. In high school, when you're waiting for the bell to ring, and it just took forever to like 10 minutes seemed like literally 2 hours, but other times you're rushing to work, you have 10 minutes, and it seems like 10 seconds.
But we did not do anything to speed up time. Time is still there, the same measure of time. It's just because the next person next to you could have said, geez, it felt like it was eternity for me. What does that mean? It's still based on an absolute of a measure of time. We didn't alter the time for anybody else. We may have consciously sped it up by building adrenaline and you can do things to occupy your time, and it seems like time has sped by, but we don't do anything to the next person or on a constituent of reality in the universe to speed up time, Darren. We just can't do it. Unless you think we can manipulate nature, then we have a problem because we have ability to do witchcraft, to tamper with nature.
Well, I know time ticks slower when you're near a source of like, I don't want to say gravity, because you have to be on a planet for that to be, so that's questionable. But clocks tick slower towards the ground than they do at a higher altitude. That's a scientific fact. So could it be that maybe our minds could act like this type of force and slow it down or speed it up depending on...
All right, say you slowed down time today. Mm-hmm. Did I feel it?
Well, it would affect us differently.
Oh, well then it's just basically perceptive. It's not even reality. It's relevant. It's relative. So I don't believe in relative. I don't believe in existentialism.
Extra what?
Existentialism.
Oh, existential. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. That's a fallacy based on a reality and your perceived view of the reality and altering it according to your relative time. But it doesn't change nothing to the absolute.
Well, the science proves that as you get closer to the ground, you go slower, and you go higher, and something is causing that to fluctuate. So I'm just saying, can we emulate that with our minds? So if that's the case, and it's more than just what you're saying. It's
personally or subjectively to others.
personally. I don't know. Who knows?
See, you see what I'm saying? If you say personally, then it's only a matter of self-perception. I could speed up time by occupying my time, and time goes by much faster, and I think that maybe I affected the quantum physics of time, but it only affected the time in my mind. So basically, I could do drugs and slow down time, Darren. I can also take LSD and seem to speed up time. I mean, you know, it's all relative, but I did not do nothing with nature. I did not do it to you.
Well,
so it's
you know
all
what they
relevant.
say, though? All right. But if they say if you can go travel at the speed of light, you'll slow down, you'll stop time, you can even reverse time. So theoretically, if you're traveling at any rate of speed, you're actually slowing time down. So if you're running, you'll actually, you know, slow time down, you'll live longer.
No matter how much you throw at that, and you say you're going to run a marathon and try to speed up time, I'm still sitting on my couch eating potato chips, watching a TV show, and it didn't go any faster for me. It's relevant. It's relative. It's a fallacy.
Well,
It's
slow it down.
based
That's
on it's a
speed it up.
it's based
So
on
runners will
it's
actually
based
figure
on
out-
existential fallacy. It's basically relativity works this way. If I say to you, Darren, Trump is president. Well, I better not use that as an example because you might think he is. A lot of Q think he still is. Let's take Obama.
Nice arrest for him, too.
I used the wrong example. Let's take this example. Obama is president. Is that true?
Well, if you go back and, well...
No. Right now, is that true? Is Obama
well, if you
president?
look at certain plaques and memorials, you'll see
Right
his
now,
face
is
in there.
Obama president?
Possibly.
You think you think Obama's a president? The president
No,
right
but
now.
it's possible. I don't think he is, but it's possible.
It is? You think Obama's president?
No.
Okay, because if you did, I'd have to say you have just violated all sorts of factual rationale and contradicted facts. Okay,
But he's probably controlling Biden though. So
okay, all right. Let's go back. Let's do something else. Is Nixon president?
He's not even alive. So,
But you're gonna say somehow in the quantum physics he could be still. See, that's all fiction.
yeah, but God is outside of time, and He can see the entire.
all right.
Listen,
You're not.
Listen, He can see the entire world from creation to His return, all like in a parade. So theoretically, time is like a parade. You can see it all at once, so it's all connected.
But
so.
you can't.
But it is. It's, whether I can see it or not, it's still reality.
You're finite.
It's still reality, whether I can see it or not. So,
Oh, okay.
I won this debate, folks.
so Nixon is still president.
If you can look from
On a
God's
quantum
perspective, you
timeline.
see him in the presidential.
All right.
booth.
Well, I can't reason with fiction.
It's not fiction; it's a fact.
It's not a fact. Nixon isn't
you
even
can see a
alive. He's
parade.
not president right now.
I know he's not, but still, I know.
All right. So you're bringing a fact. You're bringing a fantasy philosophy here. Is Nixon president right now?
No.
No. So if I said he's president, either I'm a loony or I gone into this quantum physics philosophical argument that you can't be proven. All right, so let's stop that. Is Nixon president? No, he's not, right?
It depends on what dimension you're in. There are more than three dimensions.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Do you really believe this? Or
You don't think there's other dimensions?
You just put me on.
The Bible implies there's at least 11. Science has proven there's 11. Yep.
You've just
only 3 dimensions.
transcend from reality.
How many dimensions do you think there are?
Oh, who
3.
knows? Who cares?
It's important.
I
for
live
this
in the
topic, that's
reality.
why. Yeah, so do I.
So Nixon's always going to be president. So we better be careful of Nero, and we better be careful of Hitler because they're still president and they're still heads of states and they're still right.
This is going nowhere. So we just
Nixon is not president. He's not alive.
Kidding. I know that. You know. Well,
so Nixon is not president.
No, he's not. But
okay.
Still, from a different vantage point.
Nixon is not president.
Different vantage point. Yep.
Nixon is not president.
From a different dimension. Who knows?
Oh,
It's
my
possible.
God.
Something strange that we're unaware of. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's not reality, Darren. We don't live in that side of things. We live in the
You don't know what's beyond
current.
the 3 dimensions.
We live right here.
I don't either. But
Oh
there
my
could be
God, no,
something
we live right
strange.
here.
There's the fourth dimension. Things, objects have appeared out of nowhere.
Well, then you can live in that fourth dimension. I live in Realityville.
So do I. But the reality is there's other dimensions around us. That's a fact. Yeah. So anyway.
I can't broadcast this. Oh, my God. This is like, oh, my gosh. Well, my point was trying to say if Nixon is president, that's a fallacy. If I was in 1973 and I said Nixon is president, that's a reality.
Right. I agree.
Relativism says that what's real for you is real for me. That's not. It's what's real for you might not be real for me, and that's not true. Well, it is in this case. If you think Nixon is president, I don't. So it's relative. So either way, that's an existential relative argument. But in reality, it's not based on fact. If I said Nixon is president in this reality, no, he is not. If it was 1973 and I said Nixon is president, that would be true. But in this reality, it's not true. Therefore, it's relevant to the time frame. Truth is relevant to the time frame. So I'm not in 1973 right now, unless you are. I don't know.
I agree with you, Jim.
I'm not in 1973. So therefore, to say Nixon is president right now is a fallacy. But if it was 1973, it would be true. But it's true based on the relativity that in 1973 he was president. Today, he's not president. Now, what if I said Nixon was president?
Yes, that's a true statement.
That's a true statement relative to time, no matter what, right?
Exactly.
All right. So that's based on the relative quantum of reality of the plane that we live in. So therefore, it's relative to the time frame. If I hold up my right hand and I say that's on my right, but you're on the you're on the right side of me, you're going to say, no, that's the left side. It's relative to position. So relativity is true to this certain person's perspective. However, it's based on facts, of absolute facts. The fact is the hand is up. The fact is it's on my right. And the fact is it's on your left. Those are facts. But the fact isn't that it's on my right, and you say it's on my right too, because that's relative to how you're standing. It's not true to both people, but the truth of the fact substantiated absolute fact is true.
Right. Jim, I'm kind of kidding when I'm saying all that.
It's driving me crazy.
To make it more interesting, but still.
It's driving me crazy. People believe that stuff.
I know the fake fake Biden is president right now, whatever he is, if he's a mask or. But still,
but people do believe.
Throw some ideas out there.
People
folks.
do believe. You got me like, you put me in a quantum physics stamina here.
Yeah.
But that's what people think when they believe these time planes, these different time planes, because you can't travel there physically. And then they'll say people have done it, and there's no proof. They come back and they go, yeah, I could do it. Okay, prove it. Well, I can't, but I was there. I could say right now, there's a pink elephant in my room, Darren. Can you prove me wrong?
Prove you wrong.
I got a pink elephant in my room.
I could prove
now, you could see my room, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You can't see a pink elephant, right?
No.
Do you know why?
Because it's not in there.
No, I didn't say that. He's hiding behind my curtain. Prove me wrong. You can't.
You can take the dimensions. Well, it depends on the age of the elephant, if it's a small one, juvenile, or...
You don't know, though, can you?
Yeah, true, right, you don't know.
So are you taking my say that I have a pink elephant in the back of the closet here? Of the behind the curtain? You can't challenge me.
Sure, right.
You can't challenge me, right?
Exactly.
So it's based on my subjection, and you have to believe me, right? Do you have to believe me?
Yes.
No, you don't. You could say, I don't believe there's pink elephants, so I don't believe you have a pink elephant. You have to show me proof there is a pink elephant first. Then you have to show me there's one behind your thing. Show me. So you should demand me explaining it, proving it, right?
Exactly.
The truth proves all things, doesn't it? Doesn't the Bible say prove all things?
Mm-hmm,
test
absolutely.
all things?
Test all things.
So you would say, before I believe there's a pink elephant behind there, You better show me, right? Or else what are you going to say? You don't believe me.
Exactly.
So you're calling me a liar now, Darren. Are you calling me a liar?
Oh.
Huh?
Well, I wouldn't say you're a liar. I'd say prove it. You know, like you just
I
said
know,
there.
but if you want me to prove it, you're calling me a liar. Matter of fact, Darren, if you want to look, see my curtain. I not only have a pink elephant, I have a pink elephant with purple polka dots on him. Prove me wrong. You can't because you're not here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. That's why you have to use a scientific method.
But these people do not have a scientific method when they come up with these philosophies. They had a willful subjection to something that sounds like it could be plausible to the naive mind, because it sounds like I don't know about quantum physics and super dimensions and otherworldly, like the projection of reality timeline going forward, backwards, and we substantiate on a certain plane and we can project our mind and Christ's consciousness back to a certain plane. How do I know that's real? I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
I just made all that up based on what they say. But it sounds good if I was putting out a podcast. Well, I am putting out a podcast.
Or writing a book or something.
Yeah. It would sound plausible to a naive mind who doesn't require proof. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is why we have to be careful of reality. So you don't believe I have a pink elephant?
Well, I couldn't say that. It's possible.
How do you know if there's an elephant in your bed? He has an E on his pajamas. No, I just made that up. I didn't make that up, but I mean, I just put that in there. So anyway, that's the there's a relativity that you believe, but it's based on an absolute. I had a philosopher, okay, a friend of the family's. He's a philosopher, and he's a psychologist. All right, Darren, and he argued with me every day about psychology and how there was no God, and how psychology is true and philosophy is true. And he said existentialism and relativism, all that's true. And he says there's no truth. And I said, so what do you mean there's no truth? He says truth is relative. There's no truth. I said, are you saying that as a subjective statement, or are you saying that as a true statement? And he says, well, it's a true statement. I go, so you're saying there's no true statements. You're saying there's you're making a true statement that there's no true statement. You're making a true statement that there's no realities. There's no absolutes. How do I know you're absolutely true? And he goes, well, I mean, and he stammered on it, right?
Self-contradictory.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it is. So I said, well, let's take, for instance, a chair. And I pointed to this blue chair. And I said, there's a chair in the corner. It's a blue chair, right? And he says, well, that's relative. It might not be a blue chair. And I go, maybe it's a green chair. And he says, maybe. I said, but when I said blue chair, you knew exactly what I was talking about. Well, yeah, but what's blue to me may not be what you see as blue. I said, it doesn't matter. We both perceive that it's blue, right? You see a shade of blue, I see a shade of blue. No matter how, different we may see it, it's based on an absolute, whatever light's emulating the color off of it, right? And he says, well, yeah, but it's not based on anything true. And I said, it is. It's based on the absolute that there's a color that we both perceive as blue. And I said, and he says, well, maybe the chair isn't even there. I said, so what the heck are we talking about then? We can't even have a conversation because now we can't establish whether the chair's really there. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Maybe you're not even there.
Well, people say this could be a simulation that we're in.
Yeah, but he didn't know what to say.
Right. Yep. It's a good point. Yep.
But either way, I've heard simulation theories.
What the heck is that? A simulation? What's it, like AI or just...
Yeah, it's a theory that there's a fake mock world that's simultaneously simulating us, sort of giving us projections, but there's a real world behind it that's in another quantum physics that doesn't really relate to us. It's projecting to us what it wants us to believe. It's kind of like an AI, but not really with digital technology. It's more like a universal projection. And then there's truth timelines where it says there's no real timeline of truth. Everything's relative. So we're just basically floating on this plane, going nowhere.
I've heard that.
And then there's the Buddhist theory that everything's a dream, nothing's a reality. Was it the Epicureans that denied physical? Somebody denied. They deny a physical world. So they said everything is spiritual. Remember the Hindus? Mm-hmm. Everything is spiritual. There's no reality. So they denied reality. Well, try this with a Hindu next time they say there's no reality, right? Hurt and beliefs are only relative and subjective. So therefore, we're not in reality. It only hurts us if we project that hurt, right? Next time you're in a room with somebody that says that, Darren, I want you to take a pot of boiling water, right? And go over to them and pour it over their head. And see if they feel the reality of boiling water. All right? Most of the people that conducted that, and I've heard of people that conducted that experiment. They went to a stove, they heated up water, and they said, let me do an experiment. And they attempted to pour it over the person that was denying reality, and the person walked away. Mm-hmm. Now, to that person, the person won. See, I didn't subject to myself to hurt. I walked away from it. But in reality, if the guy took the water and sprayed it on him without any warning, the guy would have felt hurt.
Mm. I know there's one guy that sat in an ice tub for I don't know how many hours, and he didn't feel any cold. He uses his mind to,
Yeah, we have a certain power to suppress pressure points in our mind. I don't doubt that. Mm-hmm. That's we're not talking about quantum physics. We're not talking about altered realities. We're not talking about subjecting ourselves to a 11th dimension. We're talking about the here and now. However, you can meditate and get your mind in a place where you suppress pain. Because your mind can play tricks on you. It could do certain things. That's what fight and flight theory is. When you're coming up with a trauma and your mind goes into a fluctuation where it doesn't feel like reality anymore, you're still there. It's still a reality. It's just your mind has gone into a place where it's suppressing it. Mm-hmm. What about shock, Darren? Do you know what shock is when somebody goes into shock? What is that?
Well, that'd be their mind, basically.
What does their mind do?
There's a connection there.
It shuts down.
Shuts down. Yep.
Yeah. Why is it shut down?
Well, because
it's a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like you get like a anti-inflammatory response from a wound. You'll get hormones that'll just surround the area.
Right.
What's it called? It's can't even think of the word right now. It's like a natural Novocaine. What's the word?
Right. Well, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's true, okay? But you didn't alter time. You didn't beat reality. You didn't go into a quantum mindset, a quantum physics. Your mind just simply went into a mode of defense, and it shut down. The pain is still there. Your body still went into shock. Your body feels the pain. It's just your mind shut it down so it doesn't feel it.
Adrenaline, that's the word.
Adrenaline, yeah. I was going to say that, but it didn't sound like where you were going.
Then it wears off, and then the pain comes in. And
adrenaline does a lot. All right. What about the person that gets an extra shot of adrenaline and they can lift things that they couldn't before?
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah,
it's adrenaline, but that doesn't mean the person's bypassed human reality. He became a superhero, right? Unless you're
another
the Hulk.
dimension, or
yeah, from another dimension. It doesn't mean the person went into a quantum physics state of another reality to
lift that car up.
To lift that car. Well, this is what quantum physics people believe in this. I know I'm very layman terms in this because I know there's more to it than they believe that I'm saying. But what I'm saying is people think that when they get into this state, they're actually tapping into an alter ego of themselves in another quantum reality and tapping into the strongman of themselves. No, they just got a freaking shot of adrenaline. That's it.
Yep.
Why do they have to make it harder than it is? You know why? Because fantasy is much easier to believe than reality. And you want to hear something else? If fantasy is true, then it denies you can fantasize that there's no God too. You can fantasize the disbelief that you need a savior. So what is this belief in false philosophies? And the Bible says there's many false philosophies, vain philosophies, right?
Absolutely.
What is that mechanism that causes people to go into that fantasy world that they can't prove? What do you think it is? What is it that makes them go into that fantasy world?
Well, it'd be their mind, of course. It's all mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But could it be the same theory as the shock theory? Their mind can't fathom the reality of what's going on around them, so they create this alter reality as a defense mechanism?
Mm-hmm. Could that be tied to multiple personalities, I wonder?
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about mind control. That's how that's how the mind does that. It snaps out of reality and it forms a new reality of something that can defend the main core, and it comes up with an alter ego. Yeah, it's very much related. A different aspect of it. But do you get what I'm saying? With the people that come up with these altered realities, and they come up with these books of false philosophies and consciousness and universal collectivism and all this stuff, they do so because they can't fathom reality of what they have to do to face it if it's real. So it's a defense mechanism. Maybe it's the same thing as their mind going into shock to defend against it and put them in a la-la land, but instead of putting them into shock, it puts them into fantasy. So they don't have to believe the reality of things going on. Did we just uncover something?
Possibly.
By accident?
Although you think of some of the strange things people have encountered, like caught on video, whether or not it's
well, you gotta
actually
be careful
a
of
glitch.
video. See,
I know that.
I have
So
a
I'm totally
problem
aware.
with video because video can capture anomalies that we can't explain. Video can seemingly. You ever do the blue dot experiment, or not the blotch experiment?
I've heard of that. I never did it,
Where
though.
you see a blotch and 10 people have to identify what's in the blotch. One person sees a demon, one person sees an angel, one person sees popcorn, another person. Everybody's mind brings them to a point of seeing something in it that their mind can coherently intellectualize or whatever, right? But in reality, it's a blob.
But what I'm talking about is like, say, like security cameras at nighttime. A guy gets pushed over, like from behind, and he gets dragged. His foot comes upward, and it's like some force is pulling him.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
I don't know the person that produced the video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the person is just a high-class scam artist.
put it this way: the guy moved in a way that it was non-linear. It was like, so it could not have been like a string or anything like that, because it would have been impossible.
No, I understand that. I've seen the video.
So
I know
there
what
are
you're
things
talking
that
about.
I've seen people walking around like no heads. I mean, this is like
On video.
on video. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
I want you to stress on video, and I want you to repeat this with me. On video.
On video.
On TV.
Although I've encountered things in my own life that makes me say that's possible.
Well, I
Put it
know.
that way.
Well, let's
And it was
go
not on
there.
video.
Let's go
It
there
was
next.
My own eyes.
Say this on TV.
On TV.
In Hollywood.
In Hollywood.
Do you
These were
believe
Hollywood
everything
films.
that you see on
These were
TV,
not
Hollywood, or on
films.
videos?
This was security cameras.
All right.
Nothing to do with Hollywood. Okay.
All right.
I'm aware of Hollywood. What that means, it means to change your mind.
Say CGI.
I'm aware of
There's
that.
been
Yes.
CGI experiments.
Yeah.
There's been people that took stock footage of these things, and they did a masterful job at displaying something on CGI that looked reality. Unless the person came out and said, that was me in the video, I don't, and got interviewed by the news or something. But they never do. I never see them on the news. I never see them say anything in public. It's a person's video that they put out. How do you know the person even exists?
Good point. But do you believe about like things like Amityville Horror, the do you think believe in like houses that could be taken over by evil spirits?
Well,
Do you think that's
Amityville
possible?
Horror was proven to be a hoax.
Okay, but other places, for instance, I've encountered things that defied the laws of physics. Put it that way, with my own eyes. It was not a video. I see.
All right,
That's
what
what
did you see physically? Because we
turned
can't do
upside down.
videos because videos.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let me just say this, Darren. The video theory is the same as my pink elephant behind the curtain theory.
Okay,
I could
but I've
say
talked
it's
to
real,
people-
but I could have fabricated the whole thing, and you don't know.
Well, if you don't think there's evil spirits that can manipulate matter at an atomic level, then you need to face reality. That's what I can say.
There's certain things that they can manipulate.
Yes, and then these are caught on cameras. It has nothing to do with Hollywood. That's what I'm
so you're
referring
saying
to.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I don't know how physical they can get.
They can get pretty physical. From what I've seen, it's pretty.
Well,
pretty
let's
wild.
put it this way. What happened in the Bible when the Pharisees that said, hey, you demons, get out of that in the name of that Jesus guy.
Right, in Acts, right.
And they
Book of
said,
Acts,
well,
yeah.
we know Paul, we know Jesus, but who the heck are you?
Who are you?
And
Yep.
then what did they do? The
They
evil
pounced on
spirits.
them. Oh, they just destroyed them.
Yeah,
just-
so you are right. They can do stuff. And I have a friend who had been pillaged by an evil spirit.
I've encountered cups that turned upside down on their own. I turned around, there it was.
Yeah, you told me
the
that.
lights turning on. Yeah, there's plus other people. They've said, here's what I've encountered in my house, and they weren't lying either. So
All right.
that's what I'm talking about when I mentioned about the videos. One
There
guy,
is
Greg,
anomalies in true life. I'm just saying we can't believe everything we see on video.
Oh, I know that. Come on, you got to prove all things. you know?
Right. Now,
Don't believe nothing until you-
I could tell you a story, and you could say, it's just like your pink elephant story, Jim. So there's no way for me to prove things. So I could tell you a story, but there's no way to prove it. You can only take my word for it. So should we even tell people things that can't be proven? We have to be careful. But we want to be an eyewitness to something. So I got to tell you a story, Darren. I was sitting I was at my uncle's house, and he was in an apartment. I was at his apartment unit, his apartment complex, and he had this long hall that ran down the hall. And when you first walk in, there's the living room and a dining room area off to the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and then the kitchen, one of those kitchens that are like has the half wall around it, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He had a couch in the middle of the room to divide the dining room area and the living room. And the TV was against the wall, and next to it was a hallway. And down the hallway, there was a room he had his lights off. He kept the lights off. That was his office area, right?
Okay.
So one day I was looking down the hallway, or I was looking at the TV, and I could see down the hallway out of the corner of my eye. And I seen something move. I didn't know what it was, and I looked, and I didn't see it. So I was watching TV, and all of a sudden, I saw it again. It was like a shape moved. A shape in the hallway, in the dark hallway that I was looking down. And I was like, what the heck is that? So I started blinking my eyes, and I'm watching TV again. I'm trying to look out of the corner of my eye, and I don't see it. As soon as I look at the TV, I see the shape. And I started rubbing my eyes, and my uncle said, what's the matter? And I said, I'm seeing things. And he goes, oh, are you seeing my spooks? 2 people now. And I said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? He says, oh, I think I picked up some spooks here, ghosts. I'm like, no way. I don't believe this stuff, because I didn't believe it, right? I look on the couch that was dividing the bedroom, the dining room with the living room, and on the couch, Darren, I'll tell you, it was in the shape of an image, but it wasn't like a human, but it was in the shape of a definite form. And what it looked like was, when you have a gas grill and it warps the air around it?
Yeah.
Like the gas warps just around it with you see the little bit of area. It was like that on the couch, just in the shape of a form.
Right. Wow.
That's what it looked like. That's the only way I could, and I think I'm the first to ever explain it like that. I've never heard that before. So anyway, that's what I saw. And I said, this is freaky. So I left, right?
Okay.
Next week, I came back. I forgot all about this thing. I just forgot about it. And my girlfriend, who's my wife now, my girlfriend was sitting where I was. And I was sitting next to her on the couch, and she was watching TV. And Darren, she starts squinting and rubbing her eyes.
Oh,
And I go,
wow.
wait a minute here. And I go, what's the matter? She goes, nothing. And I had to coax it out of her. I said, no, what's the matter? She goes, nothing. And I said, tell me, what are you seeing? And she goes, I see us just out of the corner of my eye. I can't see it when I look directly, but out of the corner of my eye down the hallway, I see a see-through skirt, like waving.
Yep.
And I go, oh, that's what I saw last week. But I didn't really see it as a white, I didn't see it as a silk, like see-through screen. I saw it more like a warped form. And I said, I saw that. I said, I thought it was lights reflecting off of something, but the fact that you see it. So I did an experiment. Here's an intelligent experiment to prove it. I said, what I want you to do is I want you to watch TV like you were. And I want you to tell me when you see it. So I looked down the hallway. Now, mind you, if she could see it, it would show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm looking at it, I wouldn't see it, right?
Okay.
Or because it wouldn't let me see it when I looked straight down the hallway, right?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't show up. Soon as I turned my eyes, she says, there it is. And I went, whoa, it won't let you see it straight on. Why can we see it out of the corner of our eyes? Isn't that weird?
That could be, wow.
So then I did the same thing. I said, I want you to do the same thing I just did. I said, here's what you're going to do. I'm gonna look at a corner of my eye. You're gonna look down the hallway, and then I want you to turn your eyes, and don't tell me when you turn them. So I'm looking out of the corner of my eye. All of a sudden I see it. I go, what did you just do? She goes, I just turned away. That's something intelligent, isn't it?
That is wild.
So do I believe there is something? Darren, I do. But do I believe in all these, every video that's shown that these things happen or people claim?
Of course not.
I don't know. I can't believe everything,
No,
and I don't
foolish.
expect anybody to believe me.
Right. No, I believe you, though, because I know you wouldn't make that up.
Yeah, it was weird. But, unless I give vivid details, I don't know, but I mean, I could be making this up. You don't know. What if I said, Darren, that was a story I made up, I fabricated? You wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So reality has to be based on truth. But I can tell you that I'm not making this up according to what I experienced.
Right.
But
there, your word would take precedence over the requirement of empirical data, because your word is
But you
good,
don't know the words of these people that come on and do videos. There's this guy that used to do videos on philosophy and New Age and as above, so below, Christ consciousness. He did all these videos, right? He was part of this group that did videos, and he was like the guru. He did all these videos on New Age and how there's no God and it's all perception. And it's all, all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he made a mistake. He came to Jesus Christ. His name is Stephen Benkarts. And I tried to get him on the show. I know friends of mine that are trying to get us connected, but that they're connected with him. But he hasn't bit into what I've offered so far. But I respect him because I remember his stuff as a New Ager, because I was searching what New Agers believe, and I came across his stuff before he was a Christian. So I know what he believed, and he was adamant about what he believed. He really believed his stuff. He sold books. He sold videos. He made millions of dollars. He came to Christ, and you know what he had to do, Darren? He had to denounce everything he came across. And he said, I'm a new creature in Christ. All things have become new. Old things have passed away. I have to look at this through Christ. Everything I told you, I believed at the time. But now looking back, I realized it's all just a bunch of names, terms, philosophies that I can't prove. I can't say I made it up, but I believed it at the time. But they're all based on vain philosophies that can't be proven. And he admitted it. And the network shut him off of their network. They said, we can't have somebody turncoating on us, on our network. And basically, he lost his whole listener base. He had to basically go bankrupt. but he did it because he had to come to the truth. Once he came to Christ, he says, all I can do is base it on reality of Jesus Christ, and these philosophies now can't be proven. And I thought they were courageous at the time, but now I realize that they're just. And I'm speaking for him. He didn't say exactly these words. I'm just saying that's the idea I got off of him, is that he basically was fueling a fabricated philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
But millions of people believed him. He sounded authentic. They trusted him. Did he lose their trust? Yeah, quite possibly, but he had to come to the reality of truth of Jesus Christ. So you see, my point is that it can sound fashionable, it can sound feasible, but unless it can be proven and you trust the person wholly, I don't trust these people. I've never met these people. I don't know L. Ron Hubbard to know if Scientology is true or if it's a bunch of gobbledygook based on maybe demonic spirits doing some of the bidding for him. I don't know. But can I believe that this is authentic?
Like they say, believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see.
Yeah. Because we could be taken by false truth.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Or science falsely called, as the Bible says.
Yep. Science falsely so-called. Yep.
Yeah.
Or knowledge, basically.
Because some of it is based on what they call science. Now, you have an experiment. How many scientists have you heard of? And you know this because you study creation and evolution. How many sciences have you heard them say that sounded plausible to the natural mind, but you dug holes in it? Because you said it doesn't work in reality. But to them, it sounded plausible, and nobody's calling them out because they don't prove it.
Mm-hmm. Quite a bit.
There's a lot of that, right? Mm-hmm. How do they know that they did these tests that they say they did? Or how do you know they didn't skew the tests that they say they did? You don't know, do you? So we can only trust in the person that we actually would regard as authentic, honest source. But we can't fully put our trust in them because we don't know where they got the information from, how they conducted it. Unless, it sounds plausible. I mean, it sounds like we could have went to the moon, right?
Imagine that.
But when you look at you look at the risk involved, and you look at the evidence shown, it has holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
When you see a guy on a wired landline talking to outer space, you have to wonder, how the heck did that happen? There was no cell phones back then.
It's funny, Nixon was talking on a landline.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and there was supposed to be a 5-second delay, and they started out with the 5-second delay. Then Nixon asked the guy a question. The guy forgot to allow for the 5-second delay, and he just answered him right away.
Really? I didn't catch that.
Oh, yeah. It's so phony, all of NASA, what they put out.
But, I mean, even if they did do something like that, I mean, the reality, even if they did go to the moon, there's no evidence. We don't have no proof except for the fabrication. Because even the moon shots, they said that they took, and the Earth shots, they admitted that they had to alter it because they couldn't get a clear shot. So basically, it was fake.
Everything about it's all fake, folks.
And then they asked for the tapes. Oops, we accidentally destroyed the tapes. How do you destroy
rolls of telemetry data all missing?
How do you?
We don't have.
No, it was destroyed, I think.
Destroyed.
Missing and destroyed.
Yeah.
And then you have the petrified rocks that supposedly were brought back, the moon rocks that were brought back, and they gave it to
Denmark.
Huh?
Came from Denmark.
Yeah, well,
Denmark?
they gave them to people in other countries, and they had it tested and found out it was Earth rock.
Earth rock, yeah. I think it was Denmark, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
But they don't put that on the news.
Nope,
you don't hear
of course not.
You don't hear the retractions. Just like evolution, when they came up with the theories, they retracted a lot of that stuff. They didn't reprint the books for retractions. They kept it in there because they want people to still believe it. Now, how do you know that evolution is true when all the information isn't satisfying, isn't satisfied? They haven't found a missing link. It's a trade secret. They haven't had a missing link. Whatever they did say they had was made up. The Piltdown Man, the what's the tooth one?
Oh, that would be Piltdown Man. That
is the
based
Piltdown
upon
Man.
a pig's tooth.
Yeah, exactly. A pig's tooth underneath the guy's bed. They found. Wow.
The Hesperopithecus Harold Cookeye. Basically, that's the name of they based the entire man and his woman, the tools he used on a simple tooth, and it was the tooth of an extinct pig, by the way. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, it was there you go. It was an extinct pig.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know it was an extinct human tooth? See, they just make it up. And this is why reality has to be based on rational. You cannot take a fabrication without me believing in the source. You know, you get cylinders from Samaria, and you say, I interpret it alone. I know how to interpret it, and it's Sumerian gods that were brought down here, Enki and Enlil, to create humanity so that they could mine for gold to keep our spaceships going, so we could go back to our planet and populate Earth based on this. You got that from the cylinders? Well, no, I got it from the cylinders and from communicating with these aliens. Oh, so you got it from a demonic channel. And we're supposed to believe this.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Zachariah Sitchin. And this is the realities, the altered realities that we are supposed to bring in our conscious mind and make it reality.
Kind of like Flacca, that drug.
Yeah, what's that?
That drug? That was with the mind-controlling drug where it opens up perhaps the evil spirit to enter a person and take over their body physically, capable of doing supernatural feats physically. Remember?
No.
Flacca.
Yeah, I kind of know what it is, but I didn't know it was something that is a drug that they have out there like that.
Oh, yeah. It's one guy ran through a garage. You can see it on YouTube.
Well, that's called PCB too, right?
PC, all right.
PCP or whatever?
I'm not sure. Well, PCB is a chemical in plastic.
No, PCP. What's the drug?
PCP.
What's the angel
LSD,
dust?
Let's see
Angel dust.
I don't do drugs.
Let's just call it angel dust.
Angel dust.
Well,
right?
I had a dose of angel dust once by accident.
Wow.
Somebody slipped it to me. I didn't know it was in there. And let me tell you, it does. It gives you an adrenaline rush. You can become superhuman. That's why they teach you in police academies that when you take down a person, a suspect, you got to make sure that he's down because he could come back. If he's on angel dust or something, he can come back up. He could be wounded and not even know it. He could have broken his legs and not even known it. Now, is that altered reality? Is it quantum physics? Or is it just the fact that the adrenaline rushed in from the drugs and his mind shut off the pain? And what happens when the person comes out of the pain? He'll die. When he comes out of when a person comes out of the high, he'll go into shock.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is that for that moment, was he demonically possessed or was he chemically possessed?
Good question.
Or both.
Or like with alcohol, does that open up the door to, you know?
Yeah, does intoxication spirits cause you to actually be open up for possession of spirits?
That just tells us the mind is an incredible...
Yeah, but it doesn't mean we have to leap into this philosophies of alter physics and quantum physics,
right.
which I'm, I know people will be out there saying, you don't realize that it's true, and we have proof of, alter. I don't know. You could say you do, but I don't go there because I don't know. I don't know that portion. All I'm fighting for is the reality. Right. That's all I'm fighting for.
Something that can be proven.
Where I am now. Yeah, something I can test. I'm here now. I can't test whether I could go back in time. I can't test that because I can't do it.
Although there's Back to the Future, the movie.
Yeah, there you go. and time machine.
Predictive programming.
Yeah, the time machine.
I wonder if I don't know if it's possible. It would be neat if it.
Well,
Can you imagine that? It'd be awesome.
I wanted to bring this up because you'll hear people that say, "Oh, there's." You ever hear Project Operation Looking Glass?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's based on this thing that I'm talking about.
Yep.
It's based on the idea that there's a reality of time space that we can tap into. There's a current plane that we live in, and then we could go either up forward or down in the past if we know how to project our minds.
Right.
And that this is just a simulation, altered simulation of those both planes.
And I heard that you have
But
the
how do
good
you
guys.
prove that?
Right. Yeah, you can't prove it. But just because we can't prove it, though, doesn't mean it's not possible. But like you said, we like to prove things.
Yeah, because like I said, just because I can't show you my pink elephant with purple polka dots behind the curtain, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, right? No, it does. You can't prove it. I can't prove it.
Yeah.
You have a right to denounce it. But if I could say that, right? Some people will say if you believe it's true, it's true. Okay, Darren, I saw a flying pig. When pigs fly, I saw a pig fly. Do you believe me? If I saw it fly, it must have flown, right? Because I thought it. What you think is reality. That's what people think. That's the philosophy of reality, is that if you think it, you can't do it till you think it. But if you think it, it's real. So a flying pink pig is real.
Well, pigs are pink, by the way. So how about saying a green?
Yeah, I know. I
Green
used a
pig,
bad
yeah.
example. I was on the pink
Yes.
elephant thing still.
So pigs and elephants are different.
I think there's a pink elephant with purple polka dots behind my curtain. So therefore it is, Darren. You don't have to believe me, but it is. Now, you have two choices. Either believe me or think I need to be
Locked up
in some mental institute, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I
It's a
can't
second.
prove it. Yeah.
Right.
But this is what we do. This is what we call philosophy. And I'm not saying philosophy like philosophical thoughts. I mean, a lot of people have philosophy. Socrates said, I don't mean the natural philosophy. I mean the philosophies of these altered realities. Can't prove it to me anyway. Mm-hmm. You could say it exists. You could stamp your feet and say, the physics, quantum physics, relativism says that. You can breathe it all you want, Darren, because you haven't shown it to me. Unless you take me there. Take me there on your next journey, Darren. Next time you time travel, take me with you, please. You know? That's what it comes down to. Anyway, I hope you like this off the cuff episode that we didn't even intend.
Yeah, we wung it, just a winging of a broadcast here.
Okay, well, let's get to the real episode. No, all right, anyway, maybe we'll publish this. All right, Darren, thanks a lot, and we'll close here before we go too far.